Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you our 2013 NFL team preview. We're taking a look at the Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to break down their offense, their defense, as well as their special teams to see what we can expect from the Eagles this upcoming season.
All eyes will be on the quarterback position this year for the Philadelphia Eagles as new head coach Chip Kelly brings in his up-tempo spread offense from the University of Oregon. And I do believe that all quarterbacks on the roster, that's Michael Vick, Nick Foles, Dennis Dixon, even Matt Barkley, can be successful in this new offense. Now, Michael Vick will be the ideal fit because of his mobility, and that's not to say that Chip Kelly's offense is a read option type of an offense that requires the quarterback to run around all day. It's just saying that having that threat back there of the quarterback taking off and running makes the offense that much more dangerous. I actually think Matt Barkley is also an ideal fit because of his ability to get rid of the football quickly and accurately, and it's very tough for a defense to defend a quick and accurate decision. So the biggest concern will be the consistency of Michael Vick and how quickly these guys can adapt to that new offense as a whole. You can make a legitimate argument that LaShawn McCoy is the best running back in the league. He's one of the more fluid and elusive backs in the game. And in this offense, I expect him to easily top over 1,500 yards because of his ability to hit a lane quickly and make one miss at the second and third levels. The Eagles also boast some quality depth with Bryce Brown and Felix Jones. Both guys can put the ball on the turf at times, but both also possess that breakaway speed that makes them dangerous, and he should complement McCoy very well. And don't forget about Chris Polk, undrafted free agent last season out of Washington, could also factor in the mix. In my opinion, this is a very good stable of backs. There's a lot of potential with this group of receivers, and Chip Kelly has a good mix of everything here, from speed guys in Macklin and Jackson to possession guys in Ben and Avant to red zone targets in Cooper and Saleh. So you can see a little bit of everything here for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, Jackson is the wild card because of his unique skill set. I can envision him being utilized as DeAnthony Thomas is utilized at Oregon, i.e. the jet sweeps, wing counters, swing passes, and traditional routes down the field. I fully expect him to have a big season this year in this offense. I also expect Aurelius Ben to have some success because of his run after the catch ability, more so than what he had in Tampa. I think he's in a better situation now. Macklin is better suited for the slot, so he can take full advantage of those crossing routes. At the tight end position, there's a wealth of talent and athleticism. You look at second-round pick Zach Ertz coming in from Stanford with the ability to flex out as a wide receiver, and also free agent signee James Casey, who brings that versatility as being a fullback or a tight end or an H-back. And they still have a very solid 7-year vet in Brent Selleck, who finished second on the team in receiving with over 680 yards. Expect to see multiple formations and personnel groupings by the Eagles this year, being able to find all kinds of multiple favorable matchups across the field. When you look at the Eagles' offensive line, they get back 3 very good players from injury. Jason Peters, the left tackle, Jason Kelsey, the center, and Todd Harrimans, the guard. All of these injuries contributed to the decline of the unit last season, and getting those 3 guys back instantly upgrades this unit. They also add rookie first-round pick Lane Johnson out of Oklahoma. He's going to start on the right side and definitely has the athleticism of a left tackle. So I think that was a good pick for Philadelphia. The big question is, do they have the right depth behind them? And we kind of saw that example play itself out last season. The one guy I can't trust on that offensive line behind their front line starters is Dennis Kelly, the 6'8", 321-pound second-year player from Purdue. He started some games last season and he wasn't a liability. And finding depth along this offensive line will be an ongoing process and vital to this team's success, as they can't afford a situation that happened last season. The Eagles are transitioning to the 3-4 defense, and instantly your first question is to wonder if they have the personnel to make the switch. Now, there's no questioning Fletcher Cox, who played very well as a rookie last season, tied for the team lead in sacks with 5.5. And yes, he's essentially a 3-tech that's moving to the 5-tech this season, but I don't see it being a problem for him because he has the strength at the point of attack that makes him unique. Now, the other 5 technique position is the question mark in my opinion. Maybe it's Cedric Thornton, who was an undrafted free agent last season, 2 years ago, or free agent signee Clifton Gathers from the Indianapolis Colts. but I do think ideally it should be Vinny Curry. The former second-round pick was a tremendous pass rusher coming out of Marshall, and they're trying to find out if he's an outside linebacker or a defensive end in this new defense. At the nose tackle spot, they bring in Isaac Sopoaga from the 49ers, and they drafted Benny Logan out of LSU in the 3rd round, and I think they're fine there. They also have Antonio Dixon, so the nose tackle spot for the Eagles is not a question mark. They just have to solve the other 5 technique opposite of Fletcher Cox. When you look at the linebacking core, you can see a lot of potential here for this new defense, and bringing in Connor Barwin from the Texans was a big pickup. He's a very gifted athlete and should help upgrade that pass rush on the outside. Now, they still have Trent Cole, who's an outstanding edge rush guy, but he's coming off an injury, so he should be 100% for the start of the season. But I really like the upward trend of Brandon Graham, the 5-year vet out of Michigan, and his move to the outside edge rush position in his 3-4, and I truly believe he'll be a double-digit sack guy this season. They also drafted Joe Kruger, outside linebacker, that could see some time at the 5 technique position out of Utah in the 7th round. Keep an eye on him. Now, on the interior, there's D'Amico Ryans, who came over from the Texans last season and led the team in tackles. Now he's going back to the same defense that he didn't quote-unquote fit down in Houston. It'll be interesting to see how well he does this season. Now, one guy it should benefit is Michael Kendricks, who has the versatility to be effective versus the run and to be effective in the passing game. I like this fit for him. And Jamar Chaney also provides some quality depth on the interior. The biggest concern is, can those guys up front, that defensive line, do what they're supposed to do to make things easier for these guys at the linebacking position? The secondary is where I have some questions about this Eagles defense, and it's mostly at the cornerback position. Now, they bring in Kerry Williams from the Baltimore Ravens, who in my opinion is a decent player, and they also signed Bradley Fletcher, who's solid, but he struggles to stay healthy. So they lack what I believe is a true starter at that position. But in the same breath, I know the plan is to get pressure on the quarterback, so it doesn't matter who's back there on the back end. I do like what they bring to the table in the slot with Brandon Boykin, outstanding rookie season last year. Curtis Marsh is a guy they drafted in the 3rd round a couple of years ago, and I think he should get more playing time. I think he's very talented. However, I do believe they selected a steal in the 7th round this year with Jordan Poyer out of Oregon State. Pre-draft process, I gave him a 1st round grade. He fell all the way to round 7, and this is a guy that's very talented, active player, reminds me a lot of Cortland Finnegan, and it wouldn't surprise me to see him become a starter later on in the season. At the safety position, free agent Kenny Phillips comes over from the New York Giants. Now, when he's healthy, he's a very good safety, but that's the biggest problem. He hasn't been able to stay healthy throughout the course of his career. The Eagles also signed Patrick Chung from the Patriots, who struggles in coverage but is a very good run defender. Nate Allen is a player that is very talented but struggled mightily last season, and he'll be looking to bounce back, and I think he'll do a good job of bouncing back. But once again, the Eagles grabbed a steal in the draft with Earl Wolf out of North Carolina State. Rarely do you find a strong safety that can cover like a free safety, has the ball skills of a cornerback, and can be an active participant in the run game department. I think he may be another guy that could end up starting at the end of the season. So if they could bank on 2 younger guys to help out that secondary, the Eagles will be in good shape in 2013. The Eagles are very good in the special teams department as far as kicking is concerned. You look at kicker Alex Henry, one of the best kickers, young kickers in the league, and Donnie Jones, whom they bring over from the Houston Texans, should do a great job as a punter. Now, when you look at the return game, I look for Brandon Boykin to handle the kickoff return duties, maybe even see some Felix Jones. Now, as for the punt returner is concerned, you may see a couple of guys back there. You may see Demarius Johnson, who was a free agent last year out of Tulsa. You may also see Jordan Poyer, who returned some punts at Oregon State, or even Brandon Boykin could double up on those punt return duties. Let's take a look at what the Eagles have on the roster. Team speed top to bottom. This is one of the fastest teams in the league. They have an improved offensive line with those guys coming back from injury, so they should be a lot better in 2013. And a new coach with creativity, so they're going to do some crazy things in a good way on offense that can give defenses fits. On the flip side, what the Eagles lack, I don't think they have a playmaker at cornerback. They have a couple of solid guys with some question marks, but not a true playmaker, and they don't have consistency at the quarterback spot. We don't know what Michael Vick we're going to get. Are we going to get the guy that can turn the football over, or are we going to get the guy that's extremely flashy and can make a lot of plays? And a defensive line personnel for this new 3-4 defense, and that's just from a 20,000-foot level from what I see on this Eagles roster. Reason for optimism for Philadelphia: Chip Kelly inherits a very talented roster both on offense And defense, he's bringing fresh new ideas, a new up-tempo offense. So you can see the Eagles giving teams problems in 2013. This wasn't a bad football team last year. Just struggled with injuries and in turn struggled with consistency along that offensive front. Now, on the flip side, a cause for concern for me would be the defensive side of the football. Can they adjust to that 3-4 defense? I know they have the linebackers. Do they have the defensive line? Do they have enough pieces in the secondary to be successful? Those would be overall causes for concern if I was an Eagles fan. The road to the Super Bowl for the Eagles goes as follows. When you look at number one, ball security. Got to protect the football. You can't have those turnovers like they did last season. Number two, the secondary must play a lot better. Can't be one of the worst secondaries in the league. And third, they have to keep teams guessing from week to week on offense. Just when you think they got a handle on what you're doing, switch it up. And the good part about that, they have the right personnel in place to make that happen and the right coaching staff in place to give teams fits week to week. I have the Eagles finishing 4th in the NFC East. This is a talented football team. I've said that throughout the course of the video. New coaching staff, new optimism. But what I don't see right now is a team that is consistent enough that I feel comfortable with putting atop the division. They will be in every ball game, and they will put up a lot of points. They'll be exciting. Defensively, they'll be faster. They may even be a lot better up front than I'm giving them credit for. So I think they'll be vastly improved in 2013. I just don't think it'll be enough to make them division champs. And I also want to give a huge shout out to Eagle fan forums for always showing football game plan support.